Hello, good evening. Hi guys. Hello guys. Good evening. Welcome to Dr. Sunday Adelaja's page. So who's going to be the first to join us this lovely Sunday evening? Hello Gift, you're the first today. How are you? Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Kayode, thank you for joining. Good evening. Hello Doris, good evening. Thank you for joining. Guys, as you're coming in, please do the honors and start sharing immediately, and also invite your friends and family. I think people would like that if you would invite them to join you in this program, in watching this program. And also, you don't just have to watch, you can leave your comments or you can contribute to our discussion today on attributes. You can do that by calling Julie Ngoya's messenger. So go to Julie Ngoya's messenger and you can call us directly to engage in this discussion about an attribute of Dr. Sunday we all love. Adamu, hello, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Fola Shile, good evening. Thank you for joining us. So guys, please start sharing immediately. Thank you. Paul, how are you? Good evening. Thank you for joining. Thank you guys, and thanks for sharing. For those of you that have shared already, if you haven't shared, please do so now and invite your friends, please. Kayode, thank you. Thank you guys.
Hello.
So, guys, you know already about attributes. If you don't, and you're joining us for the first time, let me just explain the attributes to you. These attributes are 50 in all. They are Dr. Sunday's attributes that we collated from followers and friends of Dr. Sunday during his Golden Jubilee. His Golden Jubilee were back in May this year. So we asked for attributes that they love about him and would like to develop. And they gave us an array of attributes, but we selected 50 of them, given that is Golden Jubilee. So that's why we arrived at these attributes. And then after his Golden Jubilee, we thought it would be a good thing to discuss it on a regular basis, different attributes, when we do discuss, and find out what it takes to develop the attributes, what we need, how long maybe it's going to take. For those already on the platform that have these attributes, they can tell us or help us engage, share with us how they develop the attributes. And if there are examples, also you can share your examples with us to tell us how you develop the attributes and what you love, what the benefits of these attributes has been in your life. So please guys, share. I know it sounds a little bit simplistic sometimes. That's what I'm thinking. You might not think so actually. It sounds simple when we use these words. We throw them around and mention these words, but actually imbibing those words in us is another story entirely. And this is why I love discussing attributes, because I learned so much from you guys, and also in the discussion as well, a lot of things come to light. So guys, please do the honors, share, and invite your friends and family to join in this discussion. Don't forget, you can call us by messenger, Julie Ngoya. So that's Julie Ngoya's messenger. We'll pick it up and we'll have the conversation live here, so other people will hear you, so it wouldn't just be both of us discussing these attributes. So today's attribute is dedicated. I mean, I was actually happy to be doing dedicated because some of the attributes that we've discussed in the past are really new to me. Yes, I use the words, but I don't really relate them to a behavior or character. I just use them loosely. But dedicated, yes, I know what that means, and I know what the value of dedication is, and I hope you guys also feel the same, so we can have a very engaging discussion this evening. So guys, today's discussion will be dedicated. And in the usual style, guys, we'll give you a definition, and you can also look up your definition and let us know what you discover about dedication, and then from there we take it. But you can just tell us stories of dedication and what it's done for you or your family or your friends, and how it made you feel. Even if you weren't the one that was dedicated, somebody else was dedicated to you. Tell us how that makes you feel, and what value that has imbibed in you. So please do us the honors and join us in this conversation. Guys, before we start, I'll also remind you that everything that we do live are also available on YouTube, Sunday Adelaja Official. So as we do them live, once we've finished within 24 hours to 48 hours, we make the effort to put them also on YouTube. And even if we haven't put this particular one on YouTube, it will be available for you on Facebook, where you're watching for right now. And in order to save a copy onto your own page, just share this, and you can go further by actually you're also pressing save. So you don't just have to share, you can also save onto your own onto your device or onto your page, so that you can go and watch it whenever you want in your save tab section of your Facebook. But don't forget, everything and more are available on YouTube, Sunday Adelaja Official. That's Sunday Adelaja Official. So please check out YouTube. So Julie, do you want to do the definition?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, so my definition that I have here for dedicated is when you are dedicated to something, you are devoted to a cause or ideal, like dedicated volunteers at an animal shelter who show up even in snowstorms and on holidays. Dedicated contains the root word dedicate, meaning devoted to one's aim or vocation, like a dedicated staff or workers who work extremely hard. It can also mean set aside for a specific purpose, like a dedicated desk where family members place their keys, the mail, and the notes to one another. Don't throw your coat on top of that desk, or throw those items in a drawer.
Dedicated for it. Okay. Interesting. Do you have any definition in terms of people? Because yes, that started with people, but then it went on to like items, and it just seems so simple to discuss Dr. Sunday, and also to discuss as an attribute that you should develop as an individual.
I think this can be seen from different angles, actually, because the definition here says when you're dedicated to something, you're devoted to a cause or ideal. And your cause and your ideal may be that you want to serve people, that because you know that God is in everyone, God is in every person. You are dedicated to serving every single person the way you would serve God. You're dedicated to that ideal or that cause. I think that's, depending on the perception or perspective, it can be applied to a person or a thing.
Yeah, I actually think it can be more, I also think it can be applied to a person or a thing, but and even more a person than a thing. But I'm just saying, I think which dictionary is that?
That's vocabulary.
Okay, vocabulary. My definition here is shorter, but I think is a little bit more loaded. The first one says devoted to a task or purpose. And the reason I say loaded is because, purpose is really important in everything that we do. And, sometimes, like I said earlier, throwing a word and just saying a word, if it's not purposefully placed. So even if you're dedicated, but dedicated to something that is wrong or dedicated to a wrong cause, it's not a positive thing, is it? So when I saw this as an attribute, I know, yes, it's an attribute of Dr. Sunday. He's dedicated to what he does. He's very consistent as well in everything. So the purpose aspect of dedication was the key for me. It wasn't just being dedicated to an action, even though the action has no value or is not fruitful is not actually positive, because there's so many people that are dedicated to the wrong causes. And if you're not really thinking, you can say, okay, dedicated is right, is a positive word, but you can also be dedicated to something wrong. And the other things it says here, for example, it says a team of dedicated doctors. So again, this is a cause, doctors treating people and looking after people. So that's a positive thing. Then it went on to say the synonyms for this word, dedicated, committed. Yes, that you're committed to doing everything that you need to do. Devoted, staunch, stalwart, firm, steadfast, resolute, unwavering, loyal, faithful, true. And there's other definition. And one other definition that I also like, it says that, which was the other one that that Julie was just mentioning, which was exclusively allocated or to or intended for a particular purpose. So that's when we talked about items or something being like a desk being dedicated for maybe your laptop or maybe anything, a TV or something like that. That's just an example. So the dedication that I'm looking at here that we are discussing is a dedication of a human being. So which the synonyms would be committed, devoted, staunch, stalwart, firm, steadfast, resolute, unwavering, loyal, faithful, true. So guys, please let us see your comments on this, what we've discussed, what we've mentioned so far in this discussion on the word dedicated. Okay. Aisha, thank you very much. We just seen your comments about our hair tie. Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. Hello, Patrick. Hello, Folasele. Hello, hello. We have Jane, who is saying, dedicated is to be devoted, committed to something, being faithful in doing something. Yes.
Absolutely.
Hello, hello, hello. Okay.
Thank you guys. So guys, write more comments, engage with us on this. I want to talk about the dedication examples of Dr. Sunday. If I talk about dedication examples of myself, you might just think that I'm making it up, that I'm not that dedicated, but I am trying to be dedicated. I think I can actually talk about myself in terms of if I take on a task or take on something to do, I always want to do it to the end and try my best. So I'm always dedicated to what that task is. So I think that's a good positive thing about me. Let me blow my own trumpet a little bit on that. But that was from examples that I have seen. It wasn't something that I developed naturally, and it's not something that I've actually fully developed. It's something that I'm still working on, because especially being here for the last few months, I've realized that Dr. Sunday's success and results are based on him being dedicated, being resolute, committed to whatever he's doing, come rain or shine. Once he's got a plan or he says he's going to do something, he's going to do that. So I have that advantage here where I'm seeing firsthand of how dedicated he is, and it's challenging me every day. So yes, definitely I need to work more on myself on how to be dedicated. And I always try to look for what it is about Dr. Sunday that he's driven, yes, that's the right word, that drives him to be so dedicated, because I think that dedication really needs some drivers or determination or something like that. You have to have something in you. Maybe because I came from like a background where nothing really much is demanded of me as such, and because nothing is demanded of me, I just take things easy, and that drive, I have to really foster the drive for myself. And really, I think that this environment is a great environment because I'm constantly being challenged by Dr. Sunday and other people. And once I know that there are other people that are so dedicated to what they're doing, that helps me also to want to do better and do more. So really what I want to know here is like, I've told you guys that this is like my own school and my lesson time. What I would like to know is that what have you discovered about this attribute, which is dedicated, that you can actually pass on to help other people and help somebody like myself who wants to be dedicated? What are your principles or ways that helps you to be dedicated to what you need to do? So it would be great if you guys would share that with us. And Julie also, if you have some.
Yes, I want to actually respond to that question because I'm thinking of, we all are very familiar with the word dedication, and we can say from ourselves that, we are dedicated, or, at least in many things we're dedicated, but I'm thinking of the way relationships, are mirrored. Like when you see in a society how relationships, at what level they are, if they're healthy or not, I don't see them being healthy, at least in the society that I come from, or in the West, I can say in general, because, the attribute of dedication is actually missing. There's a lot of issues that arise that can be resolved, but because people are not dedicated to the relationships that they have chosen to engage in, they break. Those relationships break, and this is all because there's a lack of dedication. So I think dedication is really a word that somehow already, I don't know if you can say that it's being thrown around.
Yeah, we throw it around, but we don't actually know what it takes, the depth of it, what it means.
Yes, we don't act based on the actual meaning. We just say it like, hi, or, today the sun is shining or something. But it's not really done in the way that it's supposed to be, or in the way that it is. Because if you're dedicated, you're really 100% dedicated, you know that everything you have to do has to be done by cause and effect, and that the things you do are predictable, or the effects are going to be predictable based on the causes, based on what you do, what you put in. So even if you're in a relationship, there's nothing that should surprise you if you prepare yourself well, knowing that you're going to dedicate to something that is going to be challenging. And maybe we can also say that, yes, maybe people are dedicated, but not to the extent of the environment that they are in. They're not, adjusting their dedication accordingly, if I can say it that way.
Yeah.
So if you're in a relationship, you know that you're dealing with a complex human being, a person who has a past, a person who obviously has a future, a person who comprises of something and who is complex, just like you are, who has emotions and who has, goals, dreams, who is supposed to be a whole human being in itself and can stumble and can make mistakes and all of these things, a person who's imperfect. And these things we have to bear in mind so that we can say that we are dedicated. So maybe we can say that we are not ready to be dedicated oftentimes. I don't know if that.
Yes, I mean, it's really interesting. It's true. It's an interesting angle that you're going with this, and I think it's actually important because we're not isolated in the world. We have relationships. Everything we do is in relationship and service with other people. So it's really good that you're mentioning the word relationship and going to that, because I think our lives are really revolves around relationship a lot. Mm-hmm. But what I'm hearing there from what you're saying is that dedication just don't come as, okay, yes, I'm just going to be dedicated. It comes with consciousness. Mm-hmm. It comes with planning. It comes with knowledge. Mm-hmm. It comes with understanding and devotion to what needs to be done. And sometimes we go into things, or we go into relationships, because that's the example that you were given there, without this consciousness and these decisions made in advance. So the decision is that, okay, I'm going to be dedicated. There are possibilities of challenges along the way. If I meet this challenge, what am I going to do? Even unforeseen challenges, what would I do in unforeseen challenges? And maybe this is like a really good point, especially we know that with relationships, especially marriages is really, really hard, where there's a lot of divorce. I mean, I think it's about 52% of people that get married are divorced. maybe this is one of the things that, yes, everyone goes in not planning to be divorced, but if you thought of, yes, I'm devoted or I'm dedicated to this person, but you haven't actually include the ingredients for you to be able to sustain or apply that dedication, if that makes sense. That there's certain things that are needed for dedication to work. Dedication is not just something that comes out on its own or you can just make happen. Like with the dedicating a desk for for keys, for example, where you put your keys, that desk stays there. You would have gone to purchase a desk and decide that you're going to put this desk in this location, so this is where the keys goes all the time, so everybody knows that. But in relationships and when you're with other people, it's a different ball game. It's not that simple.
Well, actually, you know what, this makes me think of marriage. So when you get married, you give yourselves rings, right? So the symbol of someone being dedicated to someone would be that ring, and that ring will show you, okay, there is not another person, a human being who does not wear that counterpart ring that is supposed to, how can you what can you say that?
Yeah, but you see, the ring itself does not make you dedicated.
Yes, of course not, but it's the symbol, just like the table would be dedicated in that place. The ring is dedicated in that particular finger. So that symbol is supposed to be the image, or how can I say?
But that's the thing with dedication. Dedication is not just about the word or the symbol. It's a doing, it's an action word. Whereas the dedication of a desk, the desk don't have to do anything. Yeah. Just sit there and you put the key there. But with dedication, when it comes to relations with people, especially marriage as well, there are other tools that are required. The ring is just going to be like a desk for tools, or a desk where you put the keys. But I think that we really should dig into this, because like you said, we throw these words around, but if we don't know what it entails for us to action that word, for that word to become our reality, then we're going to fail or be frustrated at the list in ensuring that we are dedicated.
Yeah.
So guys, help us out, because we really want to know this. And we might come up with things that we believe, but I also think that would be nice if you just give us some ideas, what you know as well, so we can rub minds together on this. In the meantime, I don't know if people have been writing comments. I can't really see many comments, but I would just give examples of dedications that I have seen in Dr. Sunday. And okay.
Yeah, there are actually a few. Okay. Aisha says, dedication for me is doing something you love, even if others do not agree with you.
That's a good one. Thank you. Doing something you love, okay.
Even if others don't agree with you. Yeah, that you stay dedicated to that cause, or to, that cause, no matter what other people say. Yeah. So if there are storms coming, you could say what other people say would be a storm. This is not something that's going to take you from that dedication that you've committed yourself to. Okay, Moses says, oh, okay, I love your messages. God bless you. Thank you, Moses.
Thank you, Moses.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Looking great. Thank you. Oh, yeah, Ronke is saying, dedication is when you give your full attention to something dear to you.
I've heard two sentences that you read just now. It's always something that we love. What about dedication to something that we don't love, but is the right thing to do? So we don't necessarily love this thing, but this is right. And I think this is really the test of dedication. And that's when rain or shine will come. All those that you've mentioned as well, I actually think that they are also right, but they're so easy. Doing something that you love is easy, if somebody says that they don't like it, then it's up to them not to like it. You can still forge ahead. But for me, I think true dedication would be doing things that maybe is almost something that is necessary to do, and doing it even at any cost, come rain or shine. This is not even about criticism. It's about yourself. It's not about other people. It's about from you, from the inside of you, where you know that, okay, I've committed myself to this. I am going to dedicate my time to do it well and continue to do it, even though this is not really something I'm keen on anymore, but I want to dedicate time to do it. But I'm hearing a lot of something that you love doing, something that I don't, and I really think that maybe somebody else should come and tell us this, because I don't really think it's about what we love. Because then, how then can we say with relationship, when people don't love the other person anymore and they walk away, how then can we use this and then say that they're doing anything wrong, or they shouldn't have done that, they're not dedicated, So
yeah, I think marriage is really the best example that we can use here, because when you marry someone, you dedicate yourself to the person, and you're giving vows that where you're supposed to say that I'm going to be loving you, in good or bad times. This is dedication right there, or it's supposed to be dedication. This is where you're saying, I am going to be serving, I'm going to be serving you as a human being, with who I am. I'm going to be loving you and doing all of that no matter what. So there can be days or weeks or whatever where this person is going to, you're just not going to like the person for whatever reason. There's going to be something that happened and you do not want to do it because something happened, something negative happened, but you're going to do it because you dedicated yourself to it. So I think this is what you're talking about.
Yes, it is what I'm talking about, but all the definitions that people have been giving us has been about something that you love. And people will tell you that if I don't love it, which means if it's something that you love, if they don't longer love it, then they can get out of it. Mm-hmm. So we have to be clear on this definition and this understanding that the example that Julie gave is right, but when we look at it, that is when we feel that we love somebody, or when somebody has done something, or we're passionate about something, that's when we can be dedicated. I think that's where the problem comes, because dedication does not include just you loving the thing. It's about you making a decision that whatever happens, either you love it or you don't love it, you've made this decision and I'm going to see this through to the end. So I think we are saying the same thing, but when we are reading these comments, I'm getting something that you love, something that you like. I'm not sure if it's just something that you love or you like. It's something that is the truth that you have to do. I mean, talk about the truth series that we were discussing before, and we're still going to continue. I think dedication is based on the truth that if you've made a decision, this is the right thing to do, and this thing is not going to kill you. You have decided within you, is from your inside. So that come rain or shine for me is that regardless of what happened, because I have decided to dedicate my life, my time, then I am going to forge ahead with my plans. And dedication also needs planning. It also needs daily strength. It's not, you can't decide that, I'm going to be dedicated, and that decision from that will not sustain you. It has to be a daily thing that you would determine to forge ahead with what you're doing. It's not a case where, okay, I decided before, and because I've made that decision, the power and strength that I need, I've already, I can just have it. You also have to work on it. It takes working on a daily basis. So there will be a lot of times where you don't even love what you're doing.
Yes, Aisha is saying, Mayowa, that is a good question, but I think it depends on what you are dedicated to. And then she also says, I think dedication should be applied according to the situation. Okay.
So dedication is relative. Is that what you're saying, Aisha? That you have to, once you make up your mind, if you're dedicated on something, is it relative for that thing, or is something that is relative based on everything that happens in life or different things that happens in life? Are you dedicated? Are you dedicated generally as a dedicated person, that anything that you embark on to do, you do it and you do it to completion? You're dedicated to it, come rain or shine, like Julie mentioned. Or some situation will come and you would like, I'm going to give up this, so I'm not going to dedicate my time on this. I'm not going to, I've changed my mind. Then it's not dedication. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think what Aisha may also say, what I see in her statement is that it also depends if, for instance, there are people who set limits, right? You can say, I will go this far, I will dedicate myself to this point, and if it exceeds, then I will say, no, I don't go further than that. Maybe she's saying this, that it depends if the situation changes, and I'm thinking, for instance, of the last place that I worked in. So we had job descriptions, and people were applying for those jobs, those positions. And inside of the company, after a few months, things changed, and that position was changed too. So there were people now in a position where they said, I dedicated myself to doing the previous job, not the one that I'm being given now. So therefore, I'm just going to leave it because this is not what I signed up for. So this could be a form where it's out of your...
but that's a different thing, because they're changing the goalpost. They're changing what was decided in the beginning. It's like you decide that you're going to live with me in London, right? And I said, yeah, okay, fine, we will live together in London. And then I said, oh, I'm not going to live in London anymore. I want us to live in Ireland or New York. But your plan is to live in London. So I would not come to accuse you or say that you're not dedicated to that cause, because, we said London. Yeah. So that's the same thing with a job.
Yeah, I don't know if in a job you're as free to just say, okay, I'm going to leave. Obviously, everything is based on your choice, but some people may not be able to just say, I'm going to leave and that's it. So I think this is what Aisha is talking about in terms of this situation. But let me know if this is wrong and you're meaning anything else, Aisha. So let us know, enlighten us.
And also, guys, tell us, please, if you know what you need to be dedicated. What are the ingredients? So let's imagine that dedicated is a cake that we're trying to bake. So what do we need to develop this? Because this is one of the things that we're talking about, that we just don't use the words, and when we do, we use them very loosely. We don't really know the depth that they carry. And the reason we use them loosely is because we don't understand what is required. I mean, a lot of people know what cakes are and they eat cakes, but they don't necessarily know how to bake a cake. So what are the things that are required from us or the individual to be dedicated, at least to identify, once they have identified that this is something that I want to be dedicated to. So what are the things that they need to have embodied in them, or as a tool to enable them to accomplish that this character or these attributes of dedicated. So please help us in that. Marriage is very easy to discuss in this aspect. I know a lot of people have examples on that, so feel free to discuss it with us in the ways that suits you. Do you want to read?
Jane is saying some people tend to dedicate themselves to something they can gain from.
That's true.
Then that's probably not dedication. Or is that dedication? Is it a form of dedication?
Yeah, but this is exactly what I'm saying about love. Because if you're doing things because you love it alone, or because you like it, some of the comments we got earlier, then those people will be justified. Because, if they're going to gain from it, they will dedicate it because they want to gain from it. So that's what I'm saying, that how can we really have a really thorough understanding of these attributes? Because it's easier said than done, like saying dedicated. I'm a dedicated person. Even when I started talking about me being dedicated, I'm thinking, really? Are you, Mayowa, are you really that dedicated? Are you sure that you're not just like, so it's something we constantly have to work on. I think that's one of the things that I realized, is that dedicated is not something that you have embodied in yourself easily. You know, like Dr. Sunday, if he's going to put anything out there, he will be dedicated to the cause. At least he will try his very best to make sure that he sees it to the end. But many of us, I think it takes a lot of development. Maybe I'm saying that because I grew up in the West, and you know, demands for things, or having to be to go through a lot of things or challenges to achieve something is not something that I have developed myself very well, you know, because I didn't have to struggle too hard to achieve many things. So maybe I'm looking for tools or things that I need to focus on to help me to develop my muscle as somebody that can be dedicated even if I do discover a cause. So if anyone has any idea out there, please share with us.
Yeah, so we have Aisha who's saying, so maybe Mayowa, you can be dedicated in situations, and situations may change, and you have to change your decisions of being dedicated. You know what? I actually just thought about this, Aisha, because when Mayowa was talking about Dr. Sunday, I was thinking, let me think about how Dr. Sunday is dedicated. And it made me realize that it depends on what he's dedicated on. Because I can say from my observation that Dr. Sunday is dedicated to the truth. And because he's dedicated to the truth, and truth does not change, that would actually not apply to him in that instance. So the fact that his decision of being dedicated to truth is not going to change is because of what he's dedicated to. So I can say
that makes sense to me.
Yeah, because
it's making sense
because it's absolute.
Yeah.
So if truth, for instance, for you is that you maintain a relationship that you have engaged in. You've married this person. You said that you're going to stay with this person forever until you die. Then this is truth, and this is something that you have to dedicate yourself in, because this doesn't change, right?
So, I think
I'm just trying to give an example to.
But the relationship is not. It's easy. I mean, how can we say a relationship is true? Because I'm not advocating in this dedication. I know that I am the one saying that you have to be dedicated come rain or shine. But I'm not an advocate of somebody that stays in a relationship or marriage that is no good.
Yes, but that put aside, just the fact that truth is you're dedicated to a person and only to that person until you die. This is what I'm talking about, irrespective of challenges and everything. So you're saying you're being dedicated to this person. This is truth, and you're going to stay with that person until it's over, until you die. Or we could say Dr. Sunday, who's dedicated to truth, that is unchanging, something that is absolute, so he doesn't have to worry about changing his dedication or his decision of being dedicated, because what he's dedicated to does not change. And this makes it easier, doesn't it? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think when you started talking about truth, I think it really makes sense to me. But where you're involved in a relationship, and yes, truth is absolute and is universal and all those things that we've learned about truth. But how can I can ensure that I know my truth and I do the right thing. But in a relationship where you go into a relationship, for example, like let's say marriage, I don't know how we turn this into a relationship discussion, for God's sake. Anyway, where you go into a marriage and then you're dedicated in that marriage, you're determined that you want to stay with this person. Then the person is unreasonable, for example, changes their ways and, unreasonable. Do you still then continue? Because your truth is that you love this person, you want to stay with this person, but they're doing certain things that is so unreasonable. I don't know what the examples could be. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, we can take Dr. Sunday as an example. He's the one who said he doesn't even care, even if
his wife cheated.
Exactly. Yeah. Even if his wife cheats on him, he'll still be dedicated to her. He will forgive her. No matter what she does, he's going to go back to her. And this is truth for him. This is what I gave this is what I meant as an example. So he's dedicated to that cause no matter what. You know,
I
so it has to,
see.
what you're dedicated to has to be truth for you not to change or retrieve your dedication.
Okay, so it goes back to me saying that it's not just what you love or what you is pleasant to you. It can also be something that is not pleasant to you, but because you have based your decision on the truth,
Yeah.
your truth, then you will forge ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, it's making some sense right now.
Let me see what someone is saying. Aisha's saying marriage dedication is totally different. Okay. Emmanuel is saying, I think dedication is a way of not going back for something good or to something you work to help others, not just your interest.
I like that, just not your interest.
Yeah.
Actually, I do like that. Because that's another thing. That's one of the other reasons I'm thinking, okay, because Jane, I think, mentioned earlier that people are dedicated to what they can benefit from. Where I'm thinking, if you're dedicated, either you can benefit from it or not, whether you love it or you don't love it, because you've made that decision to dedicate your time, your life onto this, you're going to see it through, come rain or shine. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Aisha is saying truth does not change. Yes, absolutely. Gift is saying the quality of being dedicated or committed to tasks or purpose. I think you're saying the quality of being dedicated or committed to
task
talks of purpose, or the action of dedicating can also be something that you're passionate for, maybe willing or forcefully.
Okay. What I do like there is that also dedication has to be tied in with purpose.
Yeah.
So you just don't decide that you're just going to be dedicated to something because you love this thing. Does this align with your purpose? And I think that's where the confusion came for me, that I can't just say that I'm going to be dedicated to somebody. I think that it would be better to be dedicated to a purpose, to a cause, than an individual. Because even that individual can say, don't be dedicated to me, I don't want you.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
But if they say that, even in Dr. Sunday's case, where if the wife ever cheats, or if he ever cheats, or whatever, he's not going to leave, he's going to stay with her, and they're going to stay together. But what if the other person decides that I'm running away from you? You know, you can't apply dedication, you know, to something that is not there. So I think that to somebody that is not there,
Or that is
not willing, is not,
it's changing, or
yes.
Yeah.
So that's why I think whoever mentioned about relationship is different. Maybe they're right. So what I've learned so far is that it has to be aligned with your purpose. So it has to be purposeful, and also it has to be true, something that is true. It has to be a cause as well, rather than just dedicating to individual, because, you know, human beings, we're quite fickle. So it has to be something purposeful. Okay?
Yeah. Okay, Aisha is saying yes, exactly. Thank you, Aisha. David is saying dedication is like giving your whole life to something. I mean, giving your spirit, soul, and body to something. I mean, your tripartite being. In case you withdraw it, it is no longer dedication. You call it commitment. Oh.
But actually, a synonym of dedicated is actually committed.
Yeah, but I think it has a deeper meaning. Just like we were talking about graceful and what was the other thing? We were talking the other day about another attribute. Sorry, I can't remember the attribute we discussed. But there's a more depth into devotion, or what is it called? Commitment. Than dedicated. What do you think? What do you guys think?
Yes, please help us out.
That's a very interesting thought. You're saying in case you withdraw it, it is no longer dedication, you call it commitment. So, dedication has more depth than commitment. That's what you're saying.
Actually, I think he's saying that dedication is from inside you. Like it comes from you, inside out. Whereas committed is maybe something that, I don't want to confuse myself, but dedication is like something that is driven from the inside. Committed is probably something that you have to, maybe we should do for definition for committed on its own. or commitment.
So
you have to do. It sounds like something that you have to do, like it's your commitment. You've committed to doing this.
Yeah,
do you understand?
Yeah.
Whereas dedicated
like agreement.
yes, like like a contract or something. And whereas dedicated, you made that choice. That choice is within you every single day. You're the one that is driving that. Whereas commitment, or sometimes that you've committed an atrocity, is like you're in it. You've committed a crime, or you committed something. It's like you just find yourself in that. It's a huge difference. But they're using it as a synonymous.
Okay. Maybe we'll get more enlightenment throughout this show, this program here. Jane is saying, you're right, Julie. I think to some extent, truth goes together with dedication. I'm thinking of what is happening in church these days, where DSA is unveiling the truth about Christianity. People are leaving churches they have been dedicated to for years because they have found the truth. Okay.
Interesting. Actually, can you read that again?
Yes.
Because I think there's some points in that.
Yes. So she's saying, I think you're right, Julie. I think to some extent, truth goes together with dedication. I am thinking of what is happening in church these days, where DSA is unveiling the truth about Christianity. People are leaving churches they have been dedicated to for years because they have found the truth.
Bingo. I think I have found what I'm looking for in this. Thank you, Jane. Because what I'm looking for is that dedication has to be, you are only committed, or you are required to continue to be dedicated to something if it is true. So this goes back to the marriage issue, that if there's nothing true, if something is not true in it, then you don't have to be dedicated. Because I'm struggling to think that if I'm dedicated to somebody and then I find that this person is not true, or something isn't right, does that mean that I have to stay in it and say I am dedicated because I decided that to be dedicated? So, but if we apply it with truth and that dedication together, because they go hands in hand, then possibly it means that my dedication can be sustained. But when truth is removed from dedication, then there is no need to be dedicated.
Yeah, it actually means it doesn't even make dedication, because it's also going to be changing. So possibly we're saying that dedication also has to be absolute. Is that what we're saying?
Oh, no, I think now we're saying that it has to be relative. If truth is not involved,
exactly,
or purpose is not involved, then you don't even, it's not required. Dedication does not stand on its own without the application of truth.
Okay.
But truth can stand on its own, but dedication cannot stand on its own.
Then it would be relative.
No, it wouldn't be relative. That's what we're saying. That,
but if it's without truth, because if it's with truth,
it has to go with truth.
Yes.
For dedication to work, to be sustainable.
Yeah.
Whereas with dedication on its own without truth, it's not sustainable. So remember, we're looking for ingredients or tools.
Yeah.
Truth stand on its own. No need to fight it. No need to defend it. But dedication can only stand under the pillar of truth. Am I making sense? Or I'm complicating this even further?
Oh gosh. Guys, let us know your thoughts, please. It's so interesting to know what you are thinking about that. We have a few more comments here. Aisha is saying, Mayowa, that is why I said marriage is different, because the other person can say, please don't be dedicated to me.
True.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting it, Aisha. I'm like, oh my God. This is like really challenging, because if you, especially in relationship, I don't even think that we should put relationship with this dedication, because it makes it really hard. And I'm not an advocate of staying on or staying in things that just because you made a vow, and if it's not working for you, you have to stay. So maybe we should just remove marriage. It's not my forte at all.
Gift is saying exactly, if it's for a purpose, that is cool. Yeah.
Yes.
I agree, Gift. Gift is also saying dedication is a synonym of diligence, zeal, commitment, and wholeheartedness. You know what this made me think of, Gift? Because I'm thinking you can only be dedicated to something if you know what it is, right? If you have the knowledge and the understanding of what you're dedicating yourself to. Because I think that's the problem that we have often. We don't know what it takes, what it is that we are dedicating ourselves to. And so when things show up that we are not familiar with or that we did not study beforehand, we are like, oh, I didn't calculate
I didn't back in for that.
Yes.
So what's that all about?
Maybe I wasn't that dedicated, or just 70% dedicated. And we say that often as well. We give a percentage. We say,
that's not dedication.
Exactly. I'm not 100% dedicated, but maybe 50%, or,
But that's the wrong use of the word, though. Even though we use it that way, we're not using it correctly. By saying that, because if you're dedicated, the percentage don't come in other than 100%. That's what it means. So by saying that this percentage dedicated, we shouldn't even use the word dedicated to it. But we use grammar, we use English in such a way that it's almost it suits us. It's not the right way. But you know what else I found out now? I have found another key ingredients to this to dedication from what Aisha just said now. The first ingredient was, where was it that you read just now?
I used it, yeah. This was gift. Wholeheartedness.
Okay, the first one was truth. The second one, which was what Aisha said, is
what is it?
Truth and what else? No. I think it's the hair. Where is it, Aisha?
We haven't read that.
Is it on the?
Commitment?
No, it's not commitment. If I remember it, guys, I'll tell you. But it's another key. When Julie was reading it out, I was thinking about it, but I wanted her to finish talking before I share it with you. So it's another key ingredient to be able to sustain dedication. But I think I will remember before we end the program, and I will tell you, because we're baking the cake called dedication, and we need to find all the ingredients to help us with it.
Yeah.
So go on.
Jane is saying maybe commitment is more of doing something whether you like it or not, whereas dedication is more of doing something you believe in. You can withdraw your dedication for something as you desire.
I like the first two lines. I like the first two lines, but I think it makes sense. I really do. So dedication is something that you believe in, like a cause. But if you no longer believe in it, then you can undedicate yourself. But commitment is either you love it or you don't. You're committed to something and you're going to continue with it.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But we should actually go back and research about this a little bit more. I think this is really important so that we don't say the wrong things to people and set up false hopes.
I just remembered what I was thinking about as the second key ingredient is knowledge. When you were talking, is that if you don't have knowledge of something, Julie was saying that as well. If you don't have knowledge of something, you don't know what you want to do, you don't know everything that entails in that, and then you're saying that you're dedicated, you get there halfway or you get there somewhere along the way, you think, oh, this is not what I bargained for.
Yeah.
So I think as well as having the truth, you also need knowledge. That's the second one. I'm glad I remembered, because that's a real key ingredient in it. So it's just like if you want to sign a contract, wherever we're talking about commitment, if you want to sign a contract, that's why in law, they say buyer beware. You need to know exactly what you're getting yourself into before you know. And how do you know if you don't have knowledge? You have to get the knowledge, the understanding, do your critical analysis, critical thinking before you then say, right, I am going to dedicate myself to this. So key ingredients for dedication is absolutely, you do need knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, Aisha is saying, and also look at maybe people that we're dedicated to these churches, and since Dr. Sunday's preaching, so many are reconsidering the dedication of those churches because of the truth they now know.
Yes.
So I think that's what she was saying about depending on the situation.
Yes, yeah. But I also think that if we use it loosely like that, then we are never going to be dedicated. But if we use the ingredients that comes with it, which is knowledge, you know, the reason that we dedicate ourselves to a non-truth, which is church, we didn't use the first ingredient of dedication, which is truth. And if it is not truth, then really we're just dedicated to false. So I'm not going to advocate, nobody is going to advocate being dedicated to false. You shouldn't be dedicated to false. So I want us to get to the point where we once we're dedicated, we're also sure. It's not a case of dedicating ourselves, then when the goal changes or the post changes or you develop, you actually start to do if we church, for example, if we do our due diligence and we read the Bible and we have a relationship with God, which is what we're supposed to have, no pastor or anybody is going to deceive us. But because we don't do that, which is what we're just talking about here now, that we need to be, we need truth and we also need knowledge. But because if we don't attain both of those ingredients, then whatever we're dedicated on is really, you know, built on sand. But to have a true dedication, truth and knowledge needs to be there. And what happened in the cases of churches now is that people are realizing that they didn't actually they dedicated themselves to something that wasn't true. And they dedicated themselves to something that they haven't acquired knowledge in and understanding and the relationship also with God to be able to sustain that word dedicated.
Yeah, I so agree with that. Before I say something about that, I wanted to read another comment here. David is saying, if you give birth to a baby without the knowledge of the baby, you dedicate the child to God or to any altar you believe in. This can happen without the permission of the baby. Even if the baby grows up and becomes a tout, yeah, he or she will still find herself back to the altar or whatever he or she has been dedicated to. Dedication is more deeper. It is like taking on an oath which cannot be broken. But commitment happens consciously to a person, and the person can still withdraw his or her commitment if anything goes wrong. Dedication is deeper and in-depth, which can even happen unconsciously. Oh, okay.
No, I think this is quite religious definition. I know people say they dedicate their children, especially because you mentioned children, so that's why I'm saying that religious, because they dedicate the children to the God, or dedicate their children in baptism or to God or whatever. But when you reach an age of accountability, your parents dedicated you. You also have to make your own decision on, you know, your belief system, and if you are dedicated to that. I think maybe this is part of things that people do as tradition, but the dedicated that we're talking about here is not that religious sense, or, you know, or is it the same?
I think, well, in David's perception at least, it's, for him, dedication is that it is something like an oath, something that you vowed to. So it's not something where you say, oh yeah, I'm going to do that, I'm going to commit to this for the next 5 years or whatever, but this is something that you vowed to hold, like a vow. So I guess this is where the difference is. This is really interesting to know, David, because I haven't seen it from that perspective, and I think Mayowa hasn't either.
No. So even I'm using the dictionary definition, which is the committed, devoted, the staunch, stalwart, diligent, passionate, fanatical. You know, what you do rather than what you do all the time. I think dedication for me is what you do all the time, not what you do one time. You know, just like your explanation with dedicating a child. You know, I think it says what you do every day. If you're dedicated to something, the application of it have to be something that is consistent on a daily basis, rather than the dedication of, I dedicate my life, I dedicate this child, and then you just walk away that this child has been dedicated. I know they use it in Africa a lot, that this child has been dedicated, but don't know if this is the same thing, you know.
But is it also, I mean, if something has to be done on a daily basis, then going back to the example of Dr. Sunday and his relationship, for instance, his marriage with his wife and Pastor Bose, where he's saying he's dedicated to her no matter what, it's not necessarily that he's doing something every day.
He is. Of course, he is. Every single day, no matter what even tells you that he is, because every single day he makes sure that she's happy. Remember, he doesn't even leave the house unless she's smiling. You know,
yes, but this is another
when you
type of dedication. His dedication would be for him to never leave the house without her smiling. But another dedication would be to never leave her no matter what happens. That's what I'm referring to. These are two different types of dedications, isn't it?
No.
Okay, we're not complicating this all. But anyway, maybe we should listen.
Okay.
Read out another comment.
Read out the comments, please, because guys, you know, this matters become more complex every day. It shows that as human beings, we really need to constantly develop ourselves and develop our minds and seek knowledge every day, every minute. If we can seek knowledge every minute, then we ought to, because we cannot make a decision. We can't decide that this is how things are and just stick to that. We always need to evolve and look for better things and better way and how to improve ourselves. And this one is one of them. This is one of the things where God, we can't even decide which dedication it is. Dedicating a child in christening, or dedicating your life or your time, your energy to something, or dedicated as somebody that is driven, that does what they say that they will do and do it well. There's so many angles to this. So guys, it's not an easy work to do dedication.
Let's see. Aisha is saying truth committed at heart, with all of your heart, okay? Committed to truth with all your heart.
I agree.
Timmy Lane, are you two twins? No, we're not twins, Timmy Lane. Chance, okay. It's like in your headgear. Thanks, Mayowa. Jane is saying, Gift is saying, I think deception has to do with truth and faithfulness. Okay. Yeah.
Truth and faithfulness.
We touched on that. Yes.
Yes.
Gift is also saying dedication, I meant, not deception, okay? No worries.
Yeah, I think we said the dedication as well.
Aisha says knowledge and truth. Yes, these are the ingredients. And when you don't have knowledge about something, you can be dedicated without just knowing. Yeah, and probably then this shouldn't count as dedication.
Yes.
Because you don't know what you're dedicated to. So it's not necessarily your fault.
Yeah, it's not that it's not your fault, but you have to take responsibility. So if you're going to say that you're dedicating yourself to something, you must apply knowledge. You must go and do your due diligence.
Yes. So you have to know what you dedicate yourself to. So before you say, but that's why it's important to know what that means and not throw around that word. When you use it, you have to know that you actually mean the entire whole thing of it, whatever comes with it.
Yes.
Then... Hello, David. Jane is saying, I guess the dedication we are discussing regarding DSA is about what we do daily to achieve results. Yes, that is true. I think that's really it. Like, just going away from, you know, the personal stuff or anything, but generally what we can see him doing as a person is that he's fully dedicated to always doing what he has to do.
I think that's good, actually.
Yeah, because he always, you know, when he says he's... yesterday, for instance, was it, I think, where he's saying every day he's going to study and self-develop.
3 to 5 hours.
Exactly. Every day.
He's dedicated to that. Yes.
Like, this is...
I think we can close here. I think this is perfect. That dedication is something that you do every day. It's not something that you do one time and you turn your back. It's a daily occurrence, a daily activity, a daily conscious decision. It's not just like I decided 5 years ago that I'm going to stay with you and I'm going to stay with you. That needs daily action, daily proving, daily working on, daily driver is something that we all need, and we also need truth and knowledge. Without the truth and knowledge as the ingredient, dedication is not dedication, it is something else. It's like calling hamburger that has no ham in it. Yeah, okay. I say that.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for joining us today. Unfortunately, we couldn't read all of the comments, but really, please share them with us next time. Yes. And we love to engage with you. That was really, really great. And we'll do that again. So we'll be back again in 55 minutes with Dr. Sunday. And tonight's very important topic, another checklist for you guys. So don't forget your pen and paper, and be sure to be there or nowhere.
Be there or be square.
Thank you, everyone. And see you in 55 minutes.
Take care, guys.
Bye.